Oh man, I actually set my alarm really early this morning because you all knew I would love probably one of the best get woke, go broke stories of the year so far. But I was up late last night, out hunting for boulders, so I ended up sleeping in a little bit longer. But here we go. If you remember, back in maybe earlier this summer, really, around June sometime, the controversy may have been right about fever pitch over Battlefield 5's inclusion of women. Now, it wasn't really, in my experience or in my opinion, the uproar wasn't exactly that women were in the game. It was that they were featured so prominently and had fake plastic or robot arms and all sorts of stuff like that. A huge section of Battlefield 5 players are normies like me with video games that probably don't really care that much about whether or not it's perfectly accurate, but a not insignificant amount of people like Battlefield 5 based on its realism. If you wanted to play something unrealistic, then you'd play Call of Duty or something like that. Now, there are other games out there that are more accurate than Battlefield 5. One came out this year. I can't remember the name of it. But, of course, SJW. This is what happens when you make your game for video game journal activists and not your customers. You think, you're going to please the journos and they're going to write all this amazing stuff about your game and you're going to sell a bunch of it. And you forget who really buys your game. That is, of course, your customers. So after the uproar of the initial trailer came out, these companies, these people that virtue signal about, that they wanted all these digital backpats or over having a woman on the cover. And when they didn't get it, as predicted, every single time, they lash out at their customers. Hence the get woke, go broke lore. This is something that is very common in Marvel Comics, indie comics, companies like IDW, Image Comics, the smaller ones, constantly at war with their customers and constantly losing money. Yet they just can't figure out how. How can they turn things around? Well, back in June, now you're going to want to follow me because the payoff is great here. The payoff is delicious. Electronic Arts, sorry. Patrick Soderlund says that people lashing out against women in the new Battlefield trailer are uneducated. Okay. Interesting. Good, not a great way to talk about your customers, but, that's what Patrick Soderlund said. Now, he was the chief design officer at EA. He wasn't just some pleb. There were too many women in the Battlefield 5 trailer. That's not really exactly what it was, but nonetheless, people nitpicked the presence of the woman, and yes, there's a rich history of women fighting in the Second World War, from Russian sniper teams to the French Resistance. Yeah, 3 out of a million were women. Congratulations. I wouldn't exactly call that a rich history. And to be clear, having a female playable character, totally fine. Who cares? A lot of guys like to play as the girl characters. Some girls like to play as guy characters. Who cares, right? Don't care. I don't care one bit. So we had a pretty woke take here by Patrick Soderlund back in June. Let's see what Patrick Soderlund's up to now as of yesterday. EA Chief Design Officer Patrick Soderlund leaves company. Interesting. I wonder why that is. 12 years with Electronic Arts included heading up the worldwide studios, the games label, and most recently overseeing the games design as Chief Design Officer is leaving Electronic Arts. An EA spokesperson told Variety that there are no plans to name a new Chief Design Officer. Patrick has been a trusted business partner and great friend, and his inspiring leadership has had an outstanding impact on EA. EA CEO Andrew Wilson wrote in a letter sent to EA employees. As an integral part of the management team for many years, including as head of Worldwide Studios, most recently chief design officer, he has been an agent for change and transformation. Early from his visions for Frostbite, which have now become the cornerstone of technology strategy, from being a champion for players' first experience, Patrick has always ensured we put creative at the center of everything we do. He has also been unwavering in his commitment to building our pipeline of amazing new games. Interesting. What a glowing exit statement. Okay. All right. Interesting. I wonder why he might leave. 12 years. Okay, so 12 years at the company. Got woke, apparently. Got woke. Got to get educated, people. Didn't you know that cyberpunk one-armed women jumping out of the window and outrunning tanks? This is how World War II combat worked. You're just uneducated. You're ignorant. You're ignorant. Patrick Satterlund thinks you're ignorant if you don't like his product. But I wonder why he could be leaving. I wonder. Anybody have any guesses? Battlefield 5 pre-orders are reportedly very weak, according to analysts. Interesting. This comes out the day after he announces he's leaving. I wonder if they're related in some way. That's a real thinker. It really gets the old almonds activated. Gets the walnuts working. After Patrick Satterlund departed from EA DICE, reports have surfaced stating that Battlefield 5 pre-orders are at a low. This should come as no surprise given that many Battlefield 5 developers on Twitter and forums told people not to buy the title after the game's reveal fiasco, followed by Satterlund's response to critics and fans' displeasure. According to a tweet that journalist Sarah Needleman from the Wall Street Journal published on August 14th, it is said that EA DICE executive Patrick Satterlund departed from the company. News of the low pre-orders bubbled up. I wonder if that was on purpose. I wonder. The chief design officer is leaving just 2 months before the launch of a new installment of its biggest franchise, Battlefield. Patrick Satterlund had been with EA for nearly 20 years and worked out of its DICE studio in Stockholm that made the war-themed video game series. Earlier this month, Cohen said that pre-order sales for Battlefield 5 had been weak. It's due to release between Activision's Blizzard's next Call of Duty game and the Take-Two Interactive Software's Red Dead Redemption sequel. Interesting. I wonder if they saw some writing on the wall. The report claims that Battlefield 5's pre-order game is weak, revealing worldwide uninterest in the forthcoming title. If you're unable to read the tweet, it states, of course, though a lot of this can be attributed to bad marketing, developer engagement with the community, and the expectations riding from Battlefield 1 and its successful marketing campaign as an alternate to the politically correct depiction of the Second World War game that is Battlefield 5. Furthermore, Electronic Arts CEO addressed the departure, blah, blah, blah. As for Battlefield 5, expect its midlife cycle to play out like the disaster that is Star Wars Battlefront 2 or Battlefield 1. The latter, which saw a steep decline in players before all the discounts and special half-price editions hit the scene thanks to Dr. Squirrel Boy and Devastation. Looks like we've got a pretty interesting article here. So we've got this is not the way that your player charts. You don't really want this. You don't really want this kind of drop off in your player base, especially in a world where these games rely on some version of microtransactions to really make their money. Lastly, the release of Red Dead Redemption 2 is set to debut the same month, with reports stating strong pre-orders. Expect Battlefield 5 to face similar fate when Titanfall 2 endured and Battlefield 1, or when That Titanfall 2 endured when Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare released. Set to debut October 19th. You know, I want people who like Battlefield to get the game they want. And I realize that not a huge portion of its player base is that necessarily plugged into what the development team says, what the company says, whatever their PC righteous plans are. But I think it's very important that people continue to vote with their wallets. And eventually it will have a difference. You're going to see sweeping changes at these companies. It just takes time. You have to see the success of games like Deliverance, right? Games like we see potentially happening with the new Doom sequel. Stick your finger in the eye of political correctness and watch your customers respond. Make that profitable. And these companies that hire these virtue signalers, and these people that are more interested in digital backpaths than putting out a good game and respecting their customer base. I'm looking at you, Jessica Price. There has to be wins. And we're actually, if you stack them up together, you put them all together, the gaming community is having a ton of wins this year. So I'm actually really excited for this game to fail and for them to learn a lesson. And hopefully the next installment will be the game that respects its customer base. I guess we'll have to wait and see. This has been another installment of Get Woke, Go Broke. I hope you enjoyed this video. A lot to cover today. We'll talk to you again real soon.